Tonight on our news, as the next general election looms, union leaders calling out government for unfulfilled promises, but some say the clash might be more personal than political. We hear from a familiar, outspoken union leader tonight. Plus, a 20-year-old facing court after reportedly dressing as a police officer in Goodman's Bay. The incident quickly went viral online. We'll tell you how he pleaded and when he's next in court.
Is the school that your child attend prepared for an active shooter? Tonight on Our News, we visit one local school who took a proactive approach ahead of this school year. Stay tuned for more details.
Then in Our News at 7:30, are your electricity bills rising? Well, government is pointing to usage and not rates. The energy minister urges consumers to understand how heat impacts energy use. Our News live at 7 starts right now. Welcome to Our News, live at 7. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Candino Knowles. Tensions between government and unions persist even as the next general election on the horizon. The Trade Union Congress leader accusing government of not yet meeting all the commitments outlined in a memorandum of understanding signed when they were in opposition. But the head of another union Congress says the shift may be personal. Berthany McDermott has more on the claims.
Mr. Ferguson seems to have fallen out of grace with the Prime Minister, who is meeting with one-on-one to try cut his deals.
Bahamas National Alliance of Trade Union Congress President Belinda Wilson is not mincing words. Wilson openly critical of Trade Union Congress President Obie Ferguson, who claims government has failed to deliver on all points in the Memorandum of Understanding signed ahead of the last general election. Adding fuel to the fire, Ferguson has threatened a national strike threatening both the airport and Paradise Island Bridge. But speaking to TUC affiliates Monday evening, Ferguson painted a different picture.
For those of you who think I have a problem with the Prime Minister and all that, I ain't got no problem with the Prime Minister, trust me.
The memorandum at the center of Wilson's recent criticism was signed in August 2021 by then opposition leader Philip Davis and party chairman Fred Mitchell, and listed a series of demands the party committed to meeting if elected. Nearly 5 years into office, Ferguson says many of those promises remain unfulfilled. As for Wilson, the issue is simple.
So like I said before, whatever his expectations were, they were not met.
Back in January, Labour Minister Peter Glover-Rowles said 96% of the MOU had already been delivered, but the unions still see it differently. Wilson says the document is solid in principle, but insists government needs to honour its side of the deal and maintain open consultation with the unions.
We, as our Congress, every time we meet with the Prime Minister, with the Minister of Labour or whomever, we stress to them that we want the legislation done. We want, like the hotel union, to be a part of when they're putting together the heads of agreement. We want them to look at the entertainment sector.
Now, as it relates to that memorandum of understanding, Wilson says it's not the document that's the issue, but she reiterated it's the way it was done. Reporting for Our News, I'm Berthany McDermott.
All right, thanks for that, Berthany. And our focus now shifts to the ongoing tension between taxi and livery drivers across New Providence. Energy and Transport Minister Jobette Colby-Davis says her ministry actively working to resolve the dispute. The Bahamas Taxi Cab Union has long accused authorities of turning a blind eye as livery drivers solicit customers in areas reserved for taxis. That's spots like Lynden Pinling International Airport and major resorts, including Atlantis. The issue was again front and center during a firing meeting Monday night, chaired by officials from the Trade Union Congress. Colby-Davis says her ministry has already sought guidance from the Attorney General's office on potential changes to legislation, among other measures to bring order to the industry.
We've also done some work at our airport of entry and improving the supervisor, the amount of supervisors we have, improving the services, the signage that have been erected for people to understand where to go. And we've also requested that each one, as in the taxi union, livery union, would have one person that would be there to verify that there is maybe a prearranged person that is for the livery and a taxi to be there to take those persons who are applying for hire for the call-up system.
And the minister adds that consultations are planned for both sides, aiming to find common ground. While the union is threatening industrial action, the minister says she hopes it doesn't escalate that far. So just how long will it take to resolve?
We are going to reach out to see what timeline works for them because it's the transport sector. Their timelines would actually be the ones we lean on. We're hoping that we can begin these consultations in September because that would help us to be able to put a document together that I can then take to the cabinet and also provide to the Office of the Attorney General, which will assist with their guidance that they will be providing to us.
A 20-year-old man facing a judge after allegedly impersonating a police officer in the Goodmans Bay area. Prosecutors say the man was spotted wearing official police gear and pretending to be an officer. The stunt quickly caught attention and spread across social media. He appeared in magistrate's court this week, pleading not guilty to the charges. He was granted $5,000 bail. His trial set for September 9th. And a 61-year-old man behind bars awaiting sentencing for admitting to molesting his 9-year-old granddaughter. The man has not been named to protect the identity of his victim. He pleaded guilty to 1 count of incest when he appeared before Justice Renee McKay. The charges stem from an incident on September 10, 2024 at the man's home where the court heard he sexually assaulted the young child during a visit. Attorney LeVar Ferguson told the court his client is facing health challenges, including poor eyesight from years of welding work and hearing loss from a past accident. All right, does the school that your child attend have active shooter plans in place? Well, this week, Bahamas Academy held a series of sessions and drills to prepare their staff for the unlikely event that someone with a gun enters the campus. Our Joshua Williams, an alumnus of the school, he returned to his old campus to see the training in action.
It's a scenario no parent wants to think about. Someone running through the halls of your child's school armed with a gun. At Bahamas Academy, teachers got first-hand training on how to respond. The lesson? 3 basic principles: run, hide, fight. Tion Clare is the school's emergency action plan coordinator.
This is something that happens at the drop of a dime. You're not prepared for it. You're not aware of it. So it's important for us to run through these drills so in the event that it does happen, we at least have an idea of what it is that we can do so that we can save lives.
Following a brief session, teachers put their training to the test. When gunshot sounds were simulated, they locked doors, closed windows, and barricaded themselves. In case a gunman makes it into a classroom, the plan shifts. The best defense, a collective effort to fight the shooter off. School shootings have seemingly become common in places like the United States. As of June, there have been 33 reported incidents. And while rare in the Bahamas, local schools have lived through several experiences of threats and false alarms.
Now, I also spoke to leadership at this school who say they prepare for other disasters and other emergency events. So why not an active shooter?
We prepare for a hurricane, we prepare for tornadoes, we prepare for fires, but we do not prepare for an active shooter in the school.
When we look at what is happening globally, with mass shootings, whether it's at schools or in businesses, I think it's important for us to be proactive.
School officials say students will also have their own training once they return to the classroom in a few weeks. Reporting for Our News, I'm Joshua Williams.
All right, thanks so much for that, Josh. Well, we've got much more to get to tonight, but for now, it's time for your first look at temperatures. We're all Greg Thompson in the Weather Center. Happy Wednesday, Greg.
Yeah, happy Wednesday.
Halfway
too.
there.
Halfway there. And of course, we're getting rid of air. And we still have some moisture still lagging around. So we got some showers earlier this morning, but much improved conditions. And we expect that for the remainder of the week. 87 degrees outside our studios right now with a few clouds. It is humid. Your winds are out of the west at 10 miles per hour, but your feels like temperature is still a very warm 95 degrees. Temperatures right now around the islands: 85 in Freeport, Grand Bahama, Marsh Harbor, Abaco. We pick up 88, Alistown, Bimini. 86s, Great Harbor Key, Governor's Harbor. Here in the capital, also in Nicholson, Andros, 87 there. Central Bahamas, 87, Kemps Bay. We pick up 86s once again. Black Point, Exuma, Georgetown, Deadman's Key, Port Nelson, Coopin Towns, and Salvador at Arthurstown, Cat Island, and into the southeast Bahamas. Temperatures also in the 80s there, and we continue to see that trend with mid to upper 80s. 89 in Providenciales, 87 Matsudown in Agua, and in Abrahams Bay. Satellite radar composite, as I mentioned, we still have some moisture lurking across area, some of that are trailing behind Erin. We will continue to see 1 or 2 showers, isolated though, and some of those showers could be locally heavy, so may see some low-lying flooding. But this will continue to pull away from us. The moisture will stay with us for the remainder of the week, so we will keep the showers in the forecast, as well as even isolated thunderstorms. The swells are still out there, so we're asking you boaters and you beachgoers, continue to stay out of the waters until the end of the week. That's your first look at weather. Stick with us. A look at the extended forecast is still to come.
Coming up in sports, how do we build on this generation of hoopers and simultaneously work on the next? Buddy's Foundation has the answer. Go straight to the source. Improve the coaches.
Yo, what's good, my loyal viewers? Ronaldo Dorset of 10YS here. First of all, thanks so much for watching, but be sure to hit that follow button. If you'd like to see more content like this, follow all of the R News social media pages, and of course, don't forget to turn on your notifications so you never miss out on the top stories from the team, well, from the teams you already trust.
More than 20 years in the making and still growing. Everywhere you turn, our news is there. From Caripta to Karakomanchogam, the commendation of a queen, the coronation of a king, the controversies, our culture, in times of conscience and collective grief, connecting the stories of a country coming into its own, from then to now and still to come. Our news is everywhere, always there when it counts.
Every week, one show drives the national conversation. On the Record. We challenge the issues, ask the tough questions, and dig deeper. We bring in the experts, the decision makers, and the voices that matter. Our discussions shape policy, influence change, and inform the public like no other. Join us every Thursday at 8 p.m. and again on Sunday at 8:30 p.m. Catch us streaming live on Facebook or catch up with your favorite episodes on our YouTube channel. The conversations that shape the Bahamas start here, on the Record.
What do you get when you're searching for the whole truth?
Less than 24.
Welcome to Our Sports at 7, presented by 10th Year Seniors. I'm Ronaldo Dorset. Let's do show. Buddy Hield has shifted his series of summer outreach initiatives to New Providence, and now local coaches will get to benefit. Hield hosted day 1 of his Elite 24 Coaches Clinic today at the AF Adderley Gymnasium. It continues the Foundation's focus on coaches this summer following a 2-day clinic in Grand Bahama. As it moved into year 7, Hield's group of coaches and trainers was led by Trey Slate and featured several players from his Buddy Buckets program. It's been a bit of a struggle for Jonquil Jones and the New York Liberty this season against the Minnesota Lynx, but it seems like the champs have figured it out, for now. Jones's 100th double-double of her career powered the Liberty to an 85-75 win last night over the Lynx at the Barclays Center. She finished with 22 points and 10 rebounds in the win. That win brought an end to a 2-game skid for the Liberty, and it was the first win for New York against the Lynx this season after 3 previous losses. Another dominant performance for Team Bahamas has them primed for a playoff run at the Billie Jean King Cup in El Salvador. Team Bahamas claimed their second win, sweeping Suriname 3-0. Simone Pratt shut out Faith Babb's 6-love, her second straight match without dropping a single game. Sydney Clark followed with a 6-2-6-1 win over Ma Ajong. In doubles play, Jaleesa Clark made her Billie Jean King Cup debut and paired with Sydney to deliver a 6-3, 6-love win to close it out for the Bahamas. Jazz Chisholm Jr. added one milestone to his growing Major League resume and is on the chase for another before the regular season comes to an end. The New York Yankees infielder achieved his second consecutive 2020 season, the only Bahamian player to accomplish the feat in the major leagues. That'll do it for Our Sports. Stay tuned to Our News at 7:30 for details on these stories and more.
When our news comes back from the break, we turn our spotlight. It's making headlines across the world as Hurricane Erin churns along the U.S. East Coast, bringing dangerous waves as outer bands extend 200 miles. Plus, check your fridge. Walmart recalls shrimp that may possibly be radioactive. And a grotesque story out of Mexico tonight as 6 severed heads found on a road connecting 2 Mexican states. The story when Our News returns.
More than 20 years in the making and still growing. Everywhere you turn, our news is there. From Caribta to Karakomanchogam, the commendation of a queen, the coronation of a king, the controversies, our culture, in times of conscience and collective grief, connecting the stories of a country coming into its own, from then to now and still to come. Our news is everywhere, always there when it counts.
Every week, one show drives the national conversation. On the Record, we challenge the issues, ask the tough questions, and dig deeper. We bring in the experts, the decision makers, and the voices that matter. Our discussions shape policy, influence change, and inform the public like no other. Join us every Thursday at 8 p.m. and again on Sunday at 8:30 p.m. Catch us streaming live on Facebook or catch up with your favorite episodes on our YouTube channel. The conversations that shape the Bahamas start here, on the Record.
What do you get when you're searching for the whole truth?
Less than 24 hours after the body of 12-year-old was discovered on a track road on Faith Avenue, police say they...
You get the most comprehensive half hour of news.
Breach of the party's constitution.
Behind me is what remains of the Victoria Court apartment complex.
Our news at 7 brings you that truth in all of the day's top stories, sports, and our view of the world. Join me, Kendino Knowles, weeknights for Our News at 7. Stay with the team you already trust.
From 2017, one show has set the standard for current affairs in the Bahamas, and that's On the Record, one of the longest running current affairs shows on RTV. We've been the place where newsmakers come to talk. We've sat down with leaders in government, cultural icons, industry leaders, and international experts. From breaking news to in-depth analysis, our conversation sets the tone.
This is Our News. Welcome back. We turn our attention now to stories making headlines across the world. Close to the United States East Coast, already forcing evacuations on North Carolina's Outer Banks and triggering rip current warnings from Florida to New England. North Carolina's governor has already declared a state of emergency, warning residents to prepare for possible evacuations. According to reports, at least 60 swimmers were rescued in North Carolina, and New York and New Jersey have also closed beaches to swimming through Thursday. The storm, now a Category 2, still lashing parts of Turks and Caicos and brushed the Bahamas before turning north. Forecasters say Aaron's massive wind field, which stretches more than 20 miles, could bring 15-foot storm surges to Barrier Islands and 10-foot waves off Massachusetts. Meta facing tough questions in Washington after a leaked document suggested its artificial intelligence chatbots were allowed to engage in sensual and romantic conversations with children. Republican Senator Josh Hawley has launched an investigation calling the revelation, quote, reprehensible and outrageous. The document, obtained by Reuters, reportedly laid out internal risk standards for Meta's AI, including troubling examples of explicit role play with minors. Meta disputes the claim, saying the notes were erroneous and that they've been removed, and that the policy strictly prohibits sexualized content involving children. Hawley insists parents deserve the truth and has demanded answers directly from Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg. Walmart is recalling some of its frozen shrimp after U.S. regulators detected radioactive material in a shipment. The Food and Drug Administration says Walmart's Great Value branded shrimp, sold in 13 states, may have been exposed to a radioactive isotope. Officials stress the contaminated batch never made it to store shelves, but customers are still being urged to throw out shrimp from 3 affected lots. Walmart says it's pulled the product and will offer full refunds while it investigates with its supplier in Indonesia. And a gruesome discovery in central Mexico, as 6 severed heads found on a roadway early Tuesday. Authorities say the remains were left on a route not usually plagued by cartel violence. Prosecutors reportedly confirmed the victims were men and have launched an investigation. Local media report a blanket was also found at the scene, carrying a gang warning and signed by a group calling itself La Paradora. Federal officials have not yet commented. The killings come as President Claudia Sheinbaum's administration cracks down on fentanyl trafficking. And in St. Lucia, Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre vowing tougher action after a weekend of deadly gun violence. Pierre, who is also Minister for National Security, assured St. Lucians this week that safety and stability can be restored following Saturday's shootings in Castries that left 3 people dead and others injured. He told residents police have a crime strategy in place and will step up patrols and surveillance in hotspots. The Prime Minister also urged patience with increased checkpoints and called for public cooperation, stressing the fight against crime is a collective effort. Authorities say stricter gun laws are already on the books to ensure swift justice. Still to come in our news, today in history, find out interesting facts about the day that was August 20th. Then in our news at 7:30.
As the new academic year rolls in here at the University of the Bahamas, find out what members of the Union for Tertiary Educators are hopeful for this new term.
And a teacher shortage is reportedly worsening as Cuban educators leave. The teachers' union chief says vacancies could deepen staffing gaps in public schools. We'll tell you the solution she says may help ease the pressure when our news returns.
In what we do at Best Brew, it really doesn't end when the customer purchases our product. We offer specialty coffee, tea, spices, and brewing equipment. We do a lot of our orders via website. We actually have the mobile service and the phone service and the internet. So having business in a box really kind of brought everything together for us and helps us to be able to provide the customer services that we pride ourselves on.
My name is Trevor Williams. I've been a Live Fiber customer since March 2024. The installation process was seamless, effortless, and extremely fast. The gentlemen that came to the installation were very helpful, reliable, very knowledgeable, and the time allocated to do the installation was shorter than the time specified. Yeah, the previous provider I had, I noticed that the internet speed actually had intermittent on my services, so I was very grateful that the live fiber was available in my area. Once I was able to make the switch, my service and everything I needed was satisfied. My favorite feature would actually be being able to add any apps from the Play Store. It's just basically making any dumb TV a smart TV. I do a lot of
On this day in Bahamian history in 2013, Cyril Darville, who spent 20-plus years in prison for murder, faced resentencing. He was convicted in 1992 for killing 27-year-old Ray Anthony Feast in 1990. Darville was charged in 8 other murders but only tried for Feast's. A 1996 death warrant was stayed after he was declared insane. And in 2006, the Privy Council ruled mandatory death sentences unconstitutional. Then a year later in 2014, Dr. Rodney Smith was confirmed as president of the College of the Bahamas. He had previously resigned in 2005 after a plagiarism controversy, but he returned to succeed Dr. Betsy Vogobos. Smith left the role in 2022 after choosing not to renew his contract. And finally in 2022, 4-year-old Kenton Seymour Jr. was fatally shot while out with his parents. Shanton Scumdum Munro was later charged with Kenton's murder and attempted murder of his parents. All right, a new generation of farmers getting hands-on experience this summer thanks to Agriculture Development Organization and their partners at Royal Bank. They launched the Grow and Thrive Summer Camp at their community farm on St. James Road, giving kids ages 8 to 14 2 weeks of practical learning. Executive Chairman Philip Smith recently told our news his organization's long-term goal was to introduce young people to farming. The camp, based in Kemp Road community, the first step towards making that a reality. Dozens of campers like Candace Rowe learned about food security, sustainability, and nutrition.
On Monday, we did an introduction. I think on Tuesday, we had the compost king come in and we did composting in the back there. He taught us how to compost, and he said a lot of things on composting. He taught us like composting is like a lasagna and stuff, greens and browns, basically the 1, 2, 3s of composting and stuff. And that's what we did on Tuesday. On Wednesday, we planted cucumbers and I think lettuce inside the plant beds, and now today we're making bird feeders.
All right, climate and environmental scientist Amber Turner volunteered at the camp. She says programs like this help raise awareness about the personal responsibilities each of us has in ensuring food security.
As we know, the Bahamas imports a lot of their food, and so learning about agriculture and how they can be sustainable and climate conscious in their everyday lives is very important. You know, the youth are the future and they get to inherit the Bahamas that we leave for them.
All right, good stuff. Organic is definitely better. If you want to watch that story again and for all of today's top stories, you can visit ournews.bs. That's going to do it for us in News at 7. Joining us now is Megan Shepard with the latest headlines. And Megan, I know that you have your own green thumb.
I did.
I was going to say, I remember the story. One of your friends, yes. Alex Diarmas out of Miami, she's an anchor at Channel 7.
Yes.
I know that you guys connected in that way, yeah?
We were both growing green peppers, and we just started talking about gardening and our tips, but it seems as though since I moved to the capital, I left my green thumb back at home. I've sent 3 plants home to glory since then.
Listen, keep trying.
Keep trying, that's the spirit.
Although I will say, when you said green pepper just now, that put me in the mind of another video I saw on social media recently, but I won't say which one.
Oh boy, I will get back into the garden this weekend. Thanks so much, Candino. Straight ahead in our news at 7:30, a teen boy and 2 men charged with gang rape of a 14-year-old girl. Here are your latest headlines. First tonight, sizzling temperatures and skyrocketing bills. The energy minister says hotter temperatures means turning to older, less efficient engines that utilize diesel. The step now, she says, is to increase education. Plus,
as the new academic year rolls in here at the University of the Bahamas, find out what members of the Union for Tertiary Educators are hopeful for this new term.
and could the new school year begin with a shortage of teachers? The Bahamas Union of Teachers president says she anticipates the absence of Cuban teachers to have a negative impact. And the opposition leader says he's not buying the Prime Minister's timeline of January 2026 as the date set for parts of the Grand Lucayan Resort to reopen. We've got the details for these stories and more when our news continues.
We're having our back to school giveaway. We are really in love with the community of Grand Bahama. We're having our back to school giveaway. We are really in love with the community of Grand Bahama. We've started at KMC, our Cavallo Medical Center in the West, Grand Bahama. We have every year sought to give back to our community. From the youngest to the oldest, we want to ensure that we are meeting the needs healthcare-wise, but we also want to meet the needs social-wise.
So last year we did the same thing where we did a back-to-school giveaway on a smaller scale, but this year we want to do it a little bigger, celebrate the kids, let them come out, have some fun, and then get their backpacks, their school bags that are filled with supplies that are definitely necessary for the new school year. So as a Grand Bahamian, this means so much to me, not only as a Grand Bahamian, but of course as an associate of Doctors Hospital to be a part of this event. I myself have kids, one who is of school age, and she'll be participating in today's event.
As Doctors Hospital, we like the show, even in our slogan, we care.
Welcome Welcome to our news, and thanks so much for joining us. I'm Megan Shepard. Amid complaints of high electricity bills, the Prime Minister shared last month that power bills haven't increased, consumption has. Energy and Transport Minister JoBeth Colby-Davis doubled down on that today, telling our news that more education is needed for consumers on heat and how it affects usage. In June, the Prime Minister's office announced a new summer energy rebate program, set to apply to July bills. The fuel charge dropped to 17.4 cents and 21.4 cents per kilowatt hour, down from current rates of 18.5 cents and 22.5 cents. Colby-Davis took a deeper dive into the increased consumption and explained how it all works.
We've tried to put our engines on an efficiency program where we roll out the more efficient engines to manage the demands on the system before we roll out the less efficient. And when we say less efficient, we mean that they're much, much, much older. And so they work harder. And so they utilize more fuel, and they may be utilizing the more costly fuel. What we're working to do in BPL is incorporate more education to heat and consumption and fuel, because when it gets hotter, we have to turn on the older, less efficient engines that utilize diesel. When the summer comes, we use Clifton and Blue Hills. So that's double of what we've been using for the winter. That's because the fuel requirement has increased because the demand is increasing, the consumption has increased.
The Energy Minister also shared these tips that she says will go a long way if implemented in each household on the island.
When you go home in the summer, your home is much hotter. It's better to open the doors, open the window, let that heat pass through, that heat escape, and then close it up. When it gets cooler in the evening, turn on your air conditioner. It'll work less because you're turning it on in a cooler temperature than if you go home and turn it on right away. I realize when the refrigerator is open, and that's why we encourage people to buy energy efficient appliances, because now some refrigerators beep after a certain time when the door is open too long, because it's warning you that the area that I am to keep cool is larger. What's happened? The door is open, so that means I'm working harder because I'm cooling another area that I didn't realize I'm supposed to cool.
The University of the Bahamas is preparing to welcome its largest freshman class in history at a critical time as the university moves forward some key accreditations. Our Delvardo Emmanuel spoke with the union representing the faculty.
The University of the Bahamas is preparing to welcome nearly 2,000 freshmen this academic year, one of the largest in the institution's history, and against the backdrop of an accreditation process, as the university recently announced the submission of applications to several leading and local international accrediting agencies. President of the Union of Tertiary Educators, Daniel Thompson.
We are advised that they have one of the largest intakes this year of almost 2,000 students, freshmen. And so obviously it would stretch our natural resources in terms of teacher load, classroom space, etc. Our faculty, we are ready to engage our students. We're looking forward to it. We're excited about it. Concurrently, the university is going through another level of its accreditation process. While UTEB, we're not against accreditation. We feel that the accreditation decision is a management decision.
Now, as the university works towards international accreditations, officials from UTEB says they welcome the process as long as it includes a strong element of humanism.
Accreditation is never an issue. Making sure, as President said, that it's a human factor and make sure that the process is done fairly and according to SAC's accreditation process.
The accreditation process also getting some pushback from former VP Dr. Ian Strawn, calling it the most colonial thing UB could have done during the Bahamas' 50th anniversary of independence. President Thompson says while they respect his views, the union doesn't necessarily support it.
In an academic institution, we do not impede people's expression of their academic or personal position. That is Dr. Strawn's position. And he has a right to express that. I defend his right to express it. But I don't agree with him. It is one expression that he's presenting of accreditation. Indeed, accreditation is internationalization of standards the internationalization of standards does not dictate one succumbing to colonialism.
Thompson adds conversation between UB's new president are ongoing. It's helping to keep the issues off the streets and around the table. Reporting for our news, I'm Delvado Emmanuel.
Meantime, Bahamas Union of Teachers President Belinda Wilson warns that vacancies left by Cuban teachers will add to an already existing teacher shortage in the public school system. Wilson was speaking on the sidelines of an orientation session for more than 100 new teachers, the majority of whom she says came from the University of the Bahamas. She's hoping the rehiring of retirees will help meet the demand.
Because of us not being able to recruit the Cuban teachers, that's going to definitely cause a shortage. But I know that the Ministry of Education has rehired some of our retirees, so that should help to fill some of the gap.
Contracts with Cuban teachers and healthcare professionals were brought into question after the United States threatened visa sanctions to countries participating in Cuban forced labor programs. Wilson telling us that some Cuban teachers, however, will return to the classroom once the fall term begins.
I've been actually in communication with a good number of them. So those Cuban teachers whose contracts still have time left, they will return, and then you have a number of them that will return where they will be making a contract between themselves and the government directly. So that's a plus, but it isn't near the amount that we usually get each year.
Police have charged 3 males, one of them a juvenile, with the gang rape of a 14-year-old girl last week. Charlton Curtis, Henrico McPhee, and a 15-year-old face charges of forcible taking and unlawful sexual intercourse. Prosecutors allege that the teen was sexually assaulted by the accused on August 14th while at home in her New Providence neighborhood. The accused were not required to enter pleas to the charges when they stood before Senior Magistrate Algernon Allen. Bail was denied and the matter was adjourned to November 11th for the presentation of voluntary bill of indictment papers. Police are looking for 3 more suspects in the matter. Free National Movement leader Michael Pintard not buying Prime Minister Philip Davis's announcement that parts of the Grand Lucayan Resort will reopen by January, saying the government continues to mislead the public. Back in May, the Davis administration signed a $120 million agreement to sell the Grand Lucayan Resort to a Bahamian subsidiary of U.S.-based developer Concord Wilshire Capital. But since then, little has been revealed about the project's timeline or the start of construction. On Tuesday, when asked for an update, Prime Minister Davis said, quote, components of the resort would be open by January next year. But Pintard says, given the government's past record on the issue, he remains skeptical.
We generally do not believe the Prime Minister when he makes these pronouncements because he and the Deputy Prime Minister, Chester Cooper, have been consistently wrong in what they have said to the public with respect to timetables around the hotel and the airport. In fact, Chester Cooper said $120 million was in the bank. And the Prime Minister, through his silence and running around the mulberry bush, seem to support this notion, and we believe they lied, that it is untrue. So while we are hopeful for the people of Grand Bahama, we are doubtful. The fact that he did not give the media any particular details on what section of the hotel and whether it is a condominium set of units that will be open or whether it is hotel rooms or some other amenities further suggests that again, he's speaking off the cuff without the facts.
Now, the opposition leader adds that the Free National Movement has long pressed the government for details on the project. Pintard says the lack of specifics only add to the uncertainty surrounding the project. Well, we've still got lots more news to share with you tonight, but first, meteorologist Greg Thompson joins us from the Weather Center. He's got your first look at temperatures. Greg.
Hi, Megan, and happy hump day to you.
Happy hump day.
I heard something about a green thumb.
I do have a green thumb, Greg, despite your doubt.
We'll see.
We'll see.
It's warm on the outside, so there's no plant growing right now. 85 degrees is our current temperature, few clouds. Winds are out of the west at 9 miles per hour. We have that warm flow and it feels like a very warm 95 degrees on the outside. Satellite radar composite, we still have some moisture left over from Aaron, which is pulling towards the north and away from us, eventually going to be turning towards the north and east. We still have the impacts of the swells affecting mostly the Atlantic side, so the islands. So we're asking you boaters and you beachgoers to stay out of the water for the next couple of days, as we will continue that. But as this moisture pulls away from us, we will continue to see a couple of isolated showers. Once it gets out of here, high pressure will build in, and we are looking for some improving conditions for the weekend. That's a quick check on conditions around the islands. Look at the tropics, and your extended forecast is still to come.
When our news comes back from the break, keeping luxury at the forefront. CEO of the Nassau Paradise Island Promotion Board says the Bahamas remains a standout when it comes to luxury destinations within the Caribbean. And later, we're still monitoring the tropics as we enter the peak of hurricane season. Greg Thompson steps back in the Weather Center with your extended weather forecast. Those details still to come when our news continues.
Whether you're battling a chronic condition or offsetting a new injury, Doctors Hospital's comprehensive rehab services offer the help you need now. 3 advanced facilities at Collins Avenue, Carmichael Road in Cable Beach means your personalized plan for care is just a visit away. From physiotherapy to occupational therapy and speech and language pathology, our team approach is all about rebuilding together. For a full list of services, visit doctorshosp.com/rehabilitation. Doctors Hospital, trusted and best care now. Isn't your health worth it?
Somewhere's Plaza, got it going on, yeah. Somewhere's Plaza, one-stop shopping is here. The family, community, for me. Southwest Plaza, come shop with us. Shop, shop, we've got so many stores. Shop, shop, our prices are right. Come spend the day, bring the family. Southwest Plaza, come shop with us.
In the Bahamas, island time is real. The history of Morris Lumber Company, established in 1945, is etched into the fabric of this proud island nation. It's a story that deserves to be celebrated in full color, and that's where we come in. Morris the Paint Place has been bringing color and vitality to homes and businesses across the Bahamas. Here, color is more than just a hue, it's a symbol of life. Together, we can paint a brighter future.
Are you or a loved one under medical care? Do you need affordable medical supplies? Ports International is the largest home healthcare supplier. Medical supplies at the very best price, and you can even shop online. From hospital beds to wound care, wheelchairs to walkers, Ports is a one-stop shop for your medical supplies, and we accept insurance. We have online shopping and 2 locations to serve you, at the Airport Industrial Park and Shirley Street. We also ship to the Family Islands. Shop online and visit us on Facebook. Call Ports.
The Bahamas is set to remain a premier destination for global travelers. Last week, Brookfield, the asset management firm that owns Atlantis Paradise Island, announced a $1.93 billion refinancing deal. It's expected to keep luxury at the forefront while also impacting the wider Bahamian economy. Tonight, we hear from a leader in the tourism sector on what this means for the country. Our Daniela Dorset reports.
On Thursday, Brookfield, which manages more than $1 trillion in global assets, confirmed the refinancing deal for Atlantis. The resort has already undergone major enhancements in recent years, but with new funding, Atlantis is preparing for an even bigger transformation with projects aimed at keeping it competitive in the global luxury market. The investments also translates into more opportunities for Bahamians, this as hundreds of construction jobs are expected during renovations. Joy Jibrilu, CEO of Nassau Paradise Island Promotion Board, says the move is a major step for Atlantis and the country's tourism product.
The clothes are the upscale property and the Atlantis resort, and so it's highly desired but we know that the luxury end of the tourism product is just doing so well. In addition, I know that they're going to invest in new amenities, another high impact project. So it's just a new injection of life into that property, and I know it will cause people to want to come again and again.
Jibrilu says the refinancing reaffirms the Bahamas' place on the global stage.
Even as we experience some challenges this year due to geopolitics, introduction of tariffs from our number one source market, etc., that market continues to do well. And so this bodes really, really well for not just Atlantis, but Paradise Island, for Nassau, and the Bahamas.
And she notes Atlantis remains a powerful magnet for international visitors.
In fact, I've just returned from a luxury conference that took place in Las Vegas, the Virtuoso Conference, and that deals exclusively with the luxury end of the tourism market. And the Bahamas, we stand out amongst the Caribbean, having more Virtuoso members than any other Caribbean destination. So that just speaks to the fact that we are viewed and perceived as a luxury destination.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Daniela Dorset.
Coming up in sports, the Buddy Hield Foundation heads to the capital next. JJ and the Libs finally get over the hump. Team Bahamas continues to get it done at the Billie Jean King Cup, and an update on the Jazz 30-30 tracker.
It's me, Wednesday Addams. Your life just took a dark turn. I regret to inform you that I have devised the meal of misfortune with Wendy's. It's pure torture for your taste buds, with 4 nightmare dips of dread. Don't waste my time asking which ones you'll get. You must surrender to your fate. Enjoy the anguish.
I'm very excited, and I can't believe it. It's it's a dream come true. When she did call me yesterday about it, I didn't know what to believe. Thanks to Mr. Coleman and this whole staff for what they do, and making sure the customers are taken care of, making sure we enjoy the gaming they do give to us. Chances is the great house to play, even down to the staff, is perfect. They're going to marvel.
You or a loved one under medical care? Do you need affordable medical supplies? Ports International is the largest home healthcare supplier. Medical supplies at the very best price. And you can even shop online. From hospital beds to wound care, wheelchairs to walkers, Ports is a one.
Welcome to Our Sports, presented by 10th Year Seniors. I'm Ronaldo Dorset. Let's do show. Buddy Hield has shifted his series of summer outreach initiatives to New Providence, and now local coaches will get to benefit. Hield hosted day 1 of his Elite 24 Coaches Clinic today at the AF Adderley Gymnasium. It continues the foundation's focus on coaches this summer following a 2-day clinic in Grand Bahama. As it moved into year 7, Hield's group of coaches and trainers was led by Trey Slate and featured several players from his Buddy Buckets program. On the court, player development took center stage today, followed by defensive team drills. The Buddy Buckets program wrapped up a successful AAU run in the United States, with 8 players earning scholarship offers. Now, the 24 Elite program continues to get into local player development ahead of this new school year. It's been a bit of a struggle for Jonquil Jones and the New York Liberty this season against the Minnesota Lynx, but it seems like the champs have figured it out, for now. Jones's 100th double-double of her career powered the Liberty to an 85-75 win last night over the Lynx at the Barclays Center. She finished with 22 points and 10 rebounds in the win. That win brought an end to a 2-game skid for the Liberty, and it was the first win for New York against the Lynx this season after 3 previous losses.
I think it's great for us. I mean, we've known for a while now that we have another level that we can take it to, and we've been in close games, not being able to pull them out. But I think what we learned from those games is really going to be vital for us going into the playoffs and finishing out this regular season.
Another dominant performance for Team Bahamas has them primed for a playoff run at the Billie Jean King Cup in El Salvador. Team Bahamas claimed their second win, sweeping Suriname 3-0. Simone Pratt shut out Faith Babs 6-love, 6-love, her second straight match without dropping a single game. Sydney Clark followed with a 6-2, 6-1 win over Ma Ajong. In doubles play, Jaleesa Clark made her Billie Jean King Cup debut and paired with Sydney to deliver a 6-3, 6-love win to close it out for the Bahamas. Jazz Chisholm Jr. added one milestone to his growing Major League resume and is on the chase for another before the regular season comes to an end. The New York Yankees infielder achieved his second consecutive 2020 season, the only Bahamian player to accomplish the feat in the major leagues. He hit his 22nd homer of the season last night, one of 9 bombs for the Yankees in their 13-3 win over the Tampa Bay Rays. Chisholm is also up to 21 stolen bases on the season. That'll do it for our sports. This is TanYS, and the Buddy Hield side quests this offseason have been fun to watch, but I can't help but wonder, where is Jimmy Butler in all this? Someone's leaving millions on the table, not turning this into a reality show. Back to the studio.
On the other side of this break, Greg is back in the Weather Center with a complete look at your forecast across the country. Stick with us.
It's me. You or a loved one under medical care? Do you need affordable medical supplies? Ports International is the largest home healthcare supplier. Medical supplies at the very best price, and you can even shop online. From hospital beds to wound care, wheelchairs to walkers, Ports is a one-stop shop for your medical supplies, and we accept insurance. We have online shopping and 2 locations to serve you, at the Airport Industrial Park and Shirley Street. We also ship to the Family Islands. Shop online and visit us on Facebook. Call Ports at 377-1771.
More than 20 years in the making and still growing. Everywhere you turn, our news is there. From Charybdis to Karakum and Chogam, the commendation of a queen, the coronation of a king, the controversies, our culture, in times of conscience and collective grief, connecting the stories of a country coming into its own, from then to now and still to come. Our news is everywhere, always there when it counts.
Every week, one show drives the national conversation. On the Record. We challenge the issues, ask the tough questions, and dig deeper. We bring in the experts, the decision makers, and the voices that matter. Our discussions shape policy, influence change, and inform the public like no other. Join us every Thursday at 8 p.m. and again on Sunday at 8:30 p.m. Catch us streaming live on Facebook or catch up with your favorite episodes on our YouTube channel. The conversations that shape the Bahamas start here, on the Record.
What do you get when you're searching for the whole truth?
Less than 24 hours after the body of 12-year-old was discovered on a track road on Faith Avenue, police say they...
You get the most comprehensive half-hour of news.
Breach of the party's constitution.
Behind me is what remains of the Victoria Court apartment complex.
This is our news. Welcome back. Aaron still pulling away from us, but some trailing moisture across the area, still generating some showers across the northwest Bahamas. Most of the activity is going to be pulling towards the southeast as we get that northwesterly wind. But tomorrow we expect a westerly wind to more southwesterly wind once the system pulls away. Current position places Aaron at 31.2 degrees north, 73.6 west. Winds up to 110 miles per hour. Its movement is towards the north at 40 miles per hour, and the system will continue to track towards the north. And it's expected to strengthen slightly, so we may get a Category 3 once again, a major hurricane, as the system continues to pull away from us, and should just parallel the coast of the United States, actually. But swells from the system will continue to affect the entire East Coast as well as the Bahamas. We're asking you boaters and you beachgoers once again for the next couple of days, stay out of the waters. It's going to be very rough out there. We still have some lingering swells, and we will continue to see that through the remainder of the week. Taking a look at the other areas in the tropics that we're going to be watching, another area just near the Leeward Islands, likely to take a slight track as Aaron, but we expect it. Most of the models are taking it in the Atlantic. Another one coming off of Africa. That one is actually going to be moving into the Central Atlantic over the next couple of days. But we will continue to watch this as tropics is heating up, and we expect systems to be rolling off of Africa over the next couple of weeks. Future forecast showing the moisture across the area still lingering across the northwest Bahamas. Aaron is pulling out of the area. Some moisture still hanging out through Thursday, and that will continue to be the trend through Friday as most of the northwest Bahamas will see some isolated showers. Boating forecast, once again, advisory for the Atlantic side. The winds are going to be out of the southwest west 10 to 15 knot seas, 2 to 4 feet inside the islands, but 5 to 8 feet along the Atlantic exposures. While in the southeast Bahamas, we expect much the same. Southeast southerly flow 10 to 15 knots. Advisory on the Atlantic side. High rip current risk, 2 to 4 foot seas inside the islands, 5 to 8 foot seas outside the islands. Let's look now at your national forecast. In the extended forecast, keep some showers on Thursday and Friday as that lingering moisture is with us. High pressure builds in for the weekend. Temperatures back into the 90s, and those feels like temperatures will be in the triple digits. So the weekend, make sure you take lots of water in and stay protected. That's a look at our weather. Make it a safe night, everybody.
Thanks so much, Greg, and I'll be sure to bring you some peppers. Well, think about this. What if the legends and traditions that shaped Bahamian culture were lost in time? The Caribbean Bottling Company and Coca-Cola, in partnership with the University of the Bahamas, is making sure that doesn't happen. Their latest Coca-Cola musical legends, spotlighting winners whose work keeps the spirit of these icons alive and inspires the next generation of young Bahamians to honor their heritage.
I think a lot is happening for the visual arts and culture in the Bahamas. And if you pay attention, you will see these faces time and time again because they really believe in nurturing the talents that we have in the Bahamas. Our students have worked extremely hard. I think we are cultivating a cohort of artists who take this thing seriously. They understand opportunity, and we help to prepare them for when they see opportunity, take a.
And it's not just about capturing the music, it's about telling stories through every brushstroke. From Alyssa Pinder's Shotgun Wedding, which challenges societal norms, to Janisha Cole's Garland and Bride, celebrating Bahamian love and folklore, and Nelson Gray's tribute to musician Joseph Spence. Each piece brings Bahamian culture to life. Education Minister Glenys Hannah Martin adds that these artists are not only preserving heritage, but they're also gaining skills to build careers from their craft, proving that art can be both inspirational and create a livelihood.
But it's more than just an art competition. It's a vibrant tribute to the soul of our nation. By challenging students to create original works inspired by the rhythms, stories, and legacies of our musical pioneers, this project does something extraordinary. Through this process, the young artists have not only honed their technical skills, but have also gained something even more valuable, which is a deeper understanding of what it means to be a working artist. They've learned to channel inspiration into creation, to take intangible feelings and give them form. This is the kind of real-world experience that shapes careers and builds confidence and makes for a happy nation.
All right, excellent initiative with beautiful and meaningful pieces. And with that, we thank you so much for joining us for our news tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Megan Shepherd. We'll see you right back here tomorrow night. Have a safe and wonderful evening. Megan Shepherd here. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to hit that follow button if you'd like to see more content like this. Follow all of the Our News social media pages so you never miss out on the top stories from the team you already trust.